I'm doing a brake inspection on a 2006 Jeep Wrangler. The first thing I'm going to do is check the brake fluid.
It's low on brake fluid. That's a good indication that it's going to need some brake work.
He said he wanted it lifted. Now all he needs is bigger tires. Let's get the wheels off and see what's going on.
The brake rotors are about 925 thousandths of an inch. The minimum spec is 893. There's plenty of meat left on the rotors. The pads are about 4 millimeters thick, so I'm going to go ahead and replace the pads without resurfacing the rotors.
I'm going to rotate the steering knuckle so you can see the back of the caliper a little better. There's just two 13 millimeter bolts that hold the caliper to the steering knuckle. Slide the caliper off. Try to not let it hang by the hose. Before I remove the pads from the caliper, I'm going to press the piston back in. Some people will take everything off, use a C-clamp on it. That's fine. I've got a tool made for that, so that's what I'm going to use. If your brake master cylinder is full of fluid and you do this, it will overflow. Luckily this one is pretty low on fluid. Okay, I've got the piston pushed in. I can remove the pads. The inboard pad just slides right out. Match up your pads. Make sure you install the right ones on the right side, the left ones on the left side. The difference is mainly the notch. This side has a notch, this side just has a little tab, one tab sticking out. And obviously it's got the brackets to hold it to the outside of the caliper or the piston on the inside of the caliper. Okay, now I'm going to remove the rotor and clean the slides here where the pads slide on the steering knuckle, and then I'm going to lubricate it. A little bit of brake parts cleaner, clean rag. If you got a lot of rust, you can use some sandpaper on there too. A little bit of anti-seize. You also want to check the slides on the caliper, make sure they move freely. Everything's good here on these. Now you can reassemble it. Okay, I'm going to install the inboard pad first. Just push it straight into the piston. Then the outboard. Okay, before you install the caliper, make sure the slides are as far back as you can get them to stay. That'll give you room to slide it on. Make sure your notches are lined up so that they'll slide onto the steering knuckle easier. Start the bolts. Be careful not to cross thread them. and tighten them up. The brake shoes are in pretty good shape. I'm going to clean them up with a little bit of brake parts cleaner and then adjust them to put a little bit of drag on the drums when you rotate them. Too loose. There's a little window at the back of the brake backing plate. You can fit a flathead screwdriver or a brake adjuster spoon in there and pull down on the back of the star wheel adjuster. The adjuster is right here. It's got a little tab that makes it only rotate one direction. That's a lot better than it was. All right, get the wheels back on it and it's ready to go. Before you drive it, always remember to do one thing, and that's pump the brakes.
Well, it stops good. It's ready to go.